In April 2011, Nantes, France became the center of a mysterious murder involving the Dupont de Ligonne family. Xavier and Agnès, along with their 4 children and 2 beloved Labradors, were the picture of upper-middle-class success. But that month, their seemingly perfect life took a dark and unexpected turn. The family's home suddenly fell silent, with neighbors noticing shuttered windows and a strange note instructing the mail carrier to stop deliveries. When authorities arrived, they found the house deserted, with signs of a hasty departure. As the days passed, letters from Xavier surfaced, claiming the family had gone into hiding due to his undercover work. But the story didn't make a lot of sense. The real horror was uncovered after a public appeal. Buried beneath the terrace were the bodies of Agnès and 3 of the children, along with their cherished Labradors. The eldest son, Thomas, was found in a separate grave. With Xavier missing, he quickly became the prime suspect in this disturbing case. Welcome to Bad Things, where we dig into the mystery of the Dupont de Ligonne family tragedy. Discover the chilling details, uncover the truth behind the murders, and explore Xavier's sudden disappearance. We'll dive into the most compelling theories and share our thoughts on what really happened. Xavier Dupont de Ligonne was born on January 9, 1961, into the aristocratic circles of Versailles, France. Raised in high society by Count Bernard Hubert Dupont de Ligonne and Geneviève Thérèse Maître, his professional life remained ambiguous, with vague descriptions as a salesman or businessman. Xavier's ventures, mostly targeted at traveling salespeople and restaurant guests, achieved little success. His wife Agnès, born on November 9, 1962 in Neuilly-sur-Seine, met Xavier in the early 1980s in Versailles. Despite their different personalities, Agnès being deeply religious and traditional, while Xavier sought adventure, they formed a bond that led to marriage. When Xavier returned from his travels, he discovered Agnès was pregnant with another man's child. Nevertheless, he embraced the child, Arthur, as his own, and the couple married when Arthur was 2 years old. Despite their unconventional start, Xavier and Agnès built a family together, eventually having 4 kids: Arthur, Thomas, Anne, and Benoit. Xavier's life appeared to be that of a successful businessman, but beneath the surface, he was a man drowning in financial failures. In the early 2000s, Xavier attempted to relocate his family to Florida, hoping for a fresh start, but the move was disastrous. The failure drained nearly all their savings, forcing the family back to France, where Xavier's financial troubles only deepened. Over the next decade, from 2001 to 2011, Xavier faced extreme financial downfall. His businesses collapsed, debts piled up, and bailiffs were constantly at his door. Despite his claims of success, Xavier was living a lie, and the weight of this deception grew heavier by the day. In January 2011, Xavier's father, Hubert, passed away from a heart attack. Xavier took it upon himself to clear out his father's apartment, searching through his belongings for anything of value. He found nothing of monetary worth, but did discover a .22 caliber long rifle. This find marked a turning point. In the weeks leading up to April 2011, Xavier's actions became increasingly suspicious. He terminated the family's lease, closed bank accounts, settled school payments, and obtained a firearms license. His purchases included a silencer, cement, a shovel, and quicklime. He began learning to shoot, even taking 2 of his sons to the shooting range. By April 2011, Xavier was facing the collapse of the life he had constructed. The family was nearly out of money, and their home was at risk. It is believed that Xavier, unable to bear the thought of his children discovering his failure, decided to keep them away from the truth. It is believed that Agnès, his wife, was the first to die when her sleep apnea machine suddenly stopped. The timeline of the tragic events is unclear, but it's believed that on April 1st, Arthur left his college and never showed up at work to collect his paycheck. The next day, Xavier bought quicklime from several shops. On April 3rd, Xavier, Agnès, and 3 of their children had a seemingly normal evening, going out to dinner and a movie. By April 4th, the 2 youngest children, Anne and Benoit, did not show up at school, raising concerns among their friends. Xavier then travelled to Angers to have dinner with Thomas, his second son, who was studying music there. This was the last time Thomas was seen alive. Over the next few days, neighbours reported strange occurrences, such as the family's dogs barking for 2 nights and then falling silent. On April 5th and 7th, some neighbours claimed to have seen Agnès, but these sightings remained disputed, with investigators believing the entire family, except for Thomas, was already dead by April 6th. In the days that followed, Xavier continued to live in the family home, concealing the bodies and maintaining the appearance of normalcy. However, by April 10th, he left Nantes, beginning what appeared to be a slow and deliberate journey across France. He visited places of significance in his life, using his credit cards and withdrawing money from ATMs, making no effort to hide. On April 11th, letters were sent to the children's schools, explaining that the family was moving to Australia due to an urgent job transfer. Similar letters were sent to family members, but with a bizarre twist. Xavier claimed they were actually in the US Witness Protection Program due to his covert work for the DEA. These letters, unsigned and strange in their content, left many puzzled and suspicious. Meanwhile, Xavier's last known sighting was on April 15, 2011, at a hotel in Roquebrune-sur-Argens, where surveillance cameras captured him carrying a long object, believed to be a rifle, in a bag. Back in Nantes, the police conducted several searches of the family home. On April 21st, they made a gruesome discovery. Several bodies buried under the porch, wrapped in plastic bags with small religious items placed next to them. The bodies belonged to Agnès, Arthur, Thomas, Anne, and Benoit, as well as the family's 2 dogs. The autopsies revealed that all 4 children had been drugged and shot in the head, while Agnès, who had no drugs in her system, was likely the first victim. Thomas, who had been killed separately after his dinner with Xavier, was buried in a different grave from the rest of the family. With the discovery of the bodies, the police launched a manhunt for Xavier Dupont de Ligonne, the prime suspect. Despite extensive efforts, he has never been found, leaving the case shrouded in mystery and tragedy. The image of a perfect family was shattered, replaced by a story of betrayal, murder, and an elusive fugitive. For those wondering about the mystery of Xavier Dupont's disappearance, some theories challenge the very heart of the ongoing investigation into the father suspected of killing his family in 2011. Clay Jeter, director of the Netflix series Unresolved Mysteries, presents a compelling twist. What if Xavier isn't the villain in this tragic story? Jeter explores the possibility that Xavier was caught up in something far bigger than anyone imagined, with his letters written under pressure. He also floats a chilling alternative. Professional killers might have been behind the brutal murders, framing Xavier to cover their tracks. Jeter connects this theory to Xavier's financial troubles, suggesting that unknown figures could have orchestrated the crime to set him up as the scapegoat. Jeter also pointed out the physical challenges of the crime, noting that Xavier, who allegedly suffered from a bad back, would have had difficulty digging the graves in the tough terrain where they were discovered. This cast doubt on the idea that he could have committed the crime on his own. However, Jeter acknowledged a critical weakness in his theory. It failed to identify the actual culprits. There's no clear explanation that fully accounts for what happened, he admitted. Another theory suggests that Xavier has traveled to South America, namely to Argentina. Given his fluency in both Spanish and English, he should have little trouble adjusting to life there. By tricking detectives into believing he had committed suicide, he was merely giving himself more time to go. Some even believe Xavier walked into the surrounding mountains and committed suicide. Despite extensive searches, no trace of Xavier has been found, and his fate remains unknown. The tragic story of the Dupont de Ligonne family remains one of the most baffling mysteries in recent memory. When you look at the evidence, it's hard not to conclude that Xavier Dupont de Ligonne meticulously planned the murders of his entire family. Facing financial ruin and the unbearable shame of his failures being exposed, Xavier likely felt trapped. In the months leading up to the tragedy, he made deliberate decisions, cancelling the family's lease, closing accounts, and buying quicklime and a firearm, all pointing to a premeditated plan. The way he carried out the murders, systematically taking the lives of his loved ones, strongly suggests that he believed he was saving them from the harsh truth of their impending financial collapse. But what makes this case even more mysterious is Xavier's disappearance. While some think he might have taken his own life in the mountains of southern France, his calculated actions after the murders, sending strange letters, withdrawing money, and traveling openly, suggest something else. It seems more likely that he was planning to start a new life elsewhere. The idea that he escaped to South America is plausible, given his language skills and his ability to blend into a new environment. His movements across France, visiting meaningful places before disappearing, hint at a man who was saying goodbye before vanishing for good. The letters he sent, claiming to be in witness protection, could have been a clever tactic to buy time and mislead investigators. Given all this, the most likely scenario is that Xavier Dupont de Ligonne managed to outsmart everyone and disappear, starting a new life under a different identity. The mystery may remain unsolved, but the evidence points to a man who meticulously planned not only the deaths of his family, but also his own escape from the life he had destroyed. What's your take on our analysis? Think we missed something? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're eager to hear from you. If you love our content and want to support the channel, feel free to check our web shop where you can find exclusive true crime merch brought to you by Bad Things.